again, it's me, Lenny, part 5 of the Gloster Meteor build, FR9. And yeah, this will probably be the last one before I show you the finished product. But on this video, hopefully what I'll do is get the weathering sorted for it. I've got the undercarriage and the engines to do, and then basically fit it all together. As you can probably see in here, I'm not really well, but anyway, my back's still in bits, so we all carry on like troopers. So what we'll do is, let me turn the camera around, show you what we've got at the moment, and we'll go from there and see what we can get. Have a look. Right, so what we've got is, we've got the Meteor, that's all deckled up and sorted. One thing I did do is something I haven't done before, and was to use a different matte coat. Now it looks to me that I've been way behind the times because a lot of you guys already use it, and it's this stuff from Winsor & Newton, the matte varnish. All I've done is, I slightly thinned it with some normal tap water, sprayed it on, and Nigel Wells explained that it needs a good 24 hours to cure, and he's quite right. Now it's been, it's just under 24 hours. I mean, we're talking about another hour or so, and it actually feels quite dry to the bone, and it's extremely matte, but it really brings the colour out. I don't know if it's bringing out on the camera, but it's honestly, I'm in love with the stuff, and I think that's the type of, that is going to be my go-to for matte and gloss covers, because I really do like it. But anyway, just to let you know, the decals went down really well in the end. Just a few more scales into the decals, and they went down really well. I haven't put all the stencils on because I just couldn't be asked. But yeah, I'm all ready. So what we'll do is we'll give us first covering of a wash, and yeah, we'll go from there. So let me just go and get my wash out. Right, first of all is, as I said, the wash. And again, what I'm using is Flory Models Wash, the dark dirt, and literally it's going to be, I keep saying that word, man, putting it all over it. Now what I am going to do is, first of all, use the dark dirt, and once that's dry, I'm going to go over it with a grey, which is a very light colour. But what I'll do is I'll put it in such a way is in like in the middle of the panels, as it were, and then once I've done that, I'll have a go to sticking it here, there and everywhere, just to, because of the matte coat, that it's going to stick a lot more. It's going to ingrain into the actual paintwork itself. So when I come to actually take it off, because what I'll do is, first of all, I'll take it off with a sanding stick, a very old one, which I do use, which I did have shown you in previous videos, and then take it off with a moist sort of like piece of kitchen towel. But the white, or not the white, the very light grey will again ingrain into the actual paintwork, and will keep it sort of like a little bit more lighter. So I'm getting that bleached effect still, with using the two types of wash, or the two types of colours of the wash. And that's basically it. So what I'll do is I'll just carry on putting this on quite liberally. I'm not being a skinflint when we come down to this. Making sure I've got everywhere, which I need to. Things to avoid is like, for me, it's going to be the gun port there. Not so much the air intakes on this one, or the engine intakes on the front, because you can quite easily get the wash out of that, but I'm going to avoid them all the same anyway. It's just going to cause me more work otherwise. So yeah. Right, so leave it with us, and I shall probably start on the engines while this is drying off, because I'm no sort of like hurry really to get this really sorted out. So yeah, Stop waffling, go on with it. Okay, I will. Right, I will catch you in a second. Right. As you can probably see, yeah, it looks like a grenade's gone off. Yeah, my airbrush decided to block and spit black rubber paint all over the place. But anyway, right, what I'm concentrating on doing now is just the engines and the undercarriage and bits and pieces. So I'm flitting between one and the other. The wash on the main airframe, that's done. That's all ready to be taken off. I'll be taking it off hopefully shortly. But anyway, cracking on with this. What I'm going to be using is, well, I've primed everything first, and I've painted everything in Tamiya rubber black, which is XF85. Once that's properly all dry, which shouldn't take too long, I can start masking up the different pieces of the engine. Now, pictures of the engine should be on your screen now. Predominantly it's going to be black and silver or an aluminium. But what I am going to do is use things like jet exhaust from AK Extreme Metals, and what was it, burnt thingamabob, burnt metal as well, which has got like a bronzy type sort of like gist to it. It'll be very, very small, very, very subtle bits and pieces, but just wanted the engine to look a bit more than just black and silver. Although the pictures that have come on are ones from like a museum, which are going to be pretty clean. I'm going to try and just weather this just a little bit so it is in use, if you know what I mean. So what I'll do is, let me crack on with this, mask what I need to mask, and then I'll crack on and get on with it. So yeah, catch you in a bit. Right, I'm just finishing off masking off the engine parts, stuff that I want to keep black, and obviously I need to spray silver. And this particular part is a pain in the ass because it's all sticking out at different angles, like 45-degree angles. And I'm just using some cheaper masking tape. It is working, but it's a pain in the ass. So once I've done this, then I can start finishing up. Well, finish off the silver or the aluminium that I've done. I've done all the undercarriage bits and everything else. What else have I done? All the wheel, the compressor fans and all that kind of business. And once that's done, I can start to tidy up my desk because it's just full of crap. As in, well, there's black paint everywhere because it's spurred out my bloody airbrush. But there you go. Got to crack on with things. So once I've done all that, once I've done the masking, let's get that last bit out of the way. That's it. I'm just going to get a tiny bit more, but the old Tamiya tape, so I can actually put it around the sides of it without running the risk of overspray on the aluminium, because it does have a tendency of doing that. So I'll get that sorted out, and that will be out of the way. You always leave a last bloody bit, don't you? Right. Yeah, this bloody cold's getting worse. Anyway, so what I shall do is just finish off, spray this aluminium, and then I can start putting it sort of like semi together, but enough so I can still paint it with the other extreme metals and stuff like that. So let me get my glove on and we'll crack on with it. Right, while we're here and while I've got it out, I'll just show you how I do. I'll paint the wheels, or the hubs as it were. So I've done that one anyway, so just to show you that. So basically you use a stencil, just a cheap one, and I do need to clean this. But anyway, what I do is find the hole or the aperture that basically suits the actual size of the hub. I've already done that one, so I know what size I'm looking for. But sometimes it is trial and error, and all you need to do is to get the actual hole or the centre of it dead centre, or as centre as you possibly can. And when you spray it at a 90-degree angle, not a 45 one. So you lessen the risk of it actually overspraying or getting under the actual the actual stencil. So, and that is basically it. Nice and tight. It does save a bit of time. If I can just get that to there, so you can see it's pretty tight, and it's nice. It's done and it's out of the way. And so if we get them two together, you got, well, both sides of it, and there you go. So all I'll do is do the back side of it, and I'll do the same for the front wheel, which obviously will be a small aperture. So that's it. Right, this bit, well, I've done the top part, as in starting to take some of the wash off. And again, I'm doing it my usual way. Some may say it's a bit long-winded, but I do get quite a good, well, I'll say quite a good, how I like it, if you know what I mean. So everyone's different, and the approach that they do this actual thing. Because, well, basically remember that there's a matte coat on top of this, so more of the actual wash is going to get stuck to the actual paintwork itself, which I'm after, plus all the panel lines and all entendres. So that's basically where I'm at. So just finishing off. It's just a scrape round, and keep away from the metal, as in the aluminium, because I don't want to take that off, because that'll just be totally awesome. Yeah. Right, anyway, I'm going to carry on taking the wash off. I'm okay with what it is at the moment. Paintwork is lovely and smooth, it really is. And once I've used the wet towel or the moist towel over to take the actual wash off, then it'll become even more of a silky smooth finish, which I'm really happy with. So what I'll do is crack on with that, and I'll get back to you when I've actually finished the actual whole of the kit, as in for the weathering side of things, the wash. Okay, so I'll see you in a sec. Right, this bit, well, I've done the top part, as in starting to take some of the wash off. And again, I'm doing it my usual way. Some may say it's a bit long-winded, but I do get quite a good, well, I'll say quite a good, how I like it, if you know what I mean. So everyone's different, and the approach that they do this actual thing. Because, well, basically remember that there's a matte coat on top of this, so more of the actual wash is going to get stuck to the actual paintwork itself, which I'm after, plus all the panel lines and all entendres. So that's basically where I'm at. So just finishing off. It's just a scrape round, and keep away from the metal, as in the aluminium, because I don't want to take that off, because that'll just be totally awesome. Yeah. Right, anyway, I'm going to carry on taking the wash off. I'm okay with what it is at the moment. Paintwork is lovely and smooth, it really is. And once I've used the wet towel or the moist towel over to take the actual wash off, then it'll become even more of a silky smooth finish, which I'm really happy with. So what I'll do is crack on with that, and I'll get back to you when I've actually finished the actual whole of the kit, as in for the weathering side of things, the wash. Okay, so I'll see you in a sec. Right, I've progressed a little bit more, and so is my voice, but hey ho. Right, basically what I've done is I've gone on to complete the undercarriage. Quite a simple affair, not much room for error, but everything does fit within the actual, well, the cavities as it were. You've got the two-part piece here, which is your main wheel part there, that goes on quite easy enough. But what I did was, to save mucking about and painted the wheel obviously first, and just slotted it in. There are two. You got like a very small rectangular sort of like stub and a hole in the other side, so you can't really go wrong in sticking them in. Plus, when you actually do put them in properly, the flat spots are in the exact same, well, the area that you need to have them done. Only with the exception of the front wheel. Obviously that's just two holes on each side, so when you're placing it down onto the deck, just make sure you've got the flat spot where you need it. Overall, the actual gear doors, they went on pretty okay. There's no issues with that whatsoever. They've all been super glued in, and yeah, that's that done. Also, just to let you know, I've showing you, that's the engine. That's been painted and dry brushed with some metallic paints. Oh, the light's a bit crap now, but I'll be doing a little bit more onto that, putting some exhaust staining on it and all the rest of it, just to show it's going to be, well, it has been used. And also the little dolly thing, or the stand that it's on, I'll dirty that up with some, well, with a wash and some other bits and pieces. The canopy, that's all been demasked and things to be put into it, and you got that part there which will go into, well, onto the main canopy itself. Although it is a tail sitter, and I know it is because it's been put on a particular stand. That's the Meteor at the moment. The wash came off really nicely, and well, the only thing I've got to do now is onto the actual main kit, is to put another matte coat on it just to finish it off. What I'll do is, as well, I need to put some PVA or crystal clear into the apertures for where the camera will be. There's a little few other odds and ends, little odds and sods I need to finish off. The actual gun bay itself, which is in there, I'll be doing that like a dark iron, or the buffable paints, so I can just buff those up and get that sorted out. So really the last thing I really want to show you is getting the engine together and hopefully installed into the aperture there. Okay, so let's have a go. Okay, now with the instructions at hand, basically just going to start putting, like I said, the engine together. So following it from steps 54 and onwards, it's basically getting this part with two parts here. You've got markers of where the actual part needs to go, and you can just literally just pop that in, and you don't even have to glue it. It just stays exactly where it needs to be, which is always a good thing. So that's that part there, just double making sure. If you want to stick glue on it, it's entirely up to you, but by the time that is actually onto the actual main engine itself, there's no need. So that part there, so we've got this ice cream cone, and it will go on to this part here. Again, there are notches on here, and it just lines up as it did, as it did the other one. Just move it around, that's it. Right, that's on, that's solid. So it is a question of just sticking a bit of the old Tamiya extra thin, do it on one side, and then I'll do it on the other. And basically the glue is just going to whip all around the two sides and get that secure nicely for us. So I'll just leave that there just for a second. Going on to the other part, which is basically putting the ice cream cone into where the, I don't know what you call them, compressors or whatever you call them. It's a Trent engine, I know, but what that is, I'm not too sure. But anyway, I'll just gently stick that in. Now, when you're putting this in, obviously you've got to line it up and make sure it's basically going where it needs to go. So it's literally black on black, and you're just going to stick that on that, like so. So for this one, it's just literally going to be a few blobs of super glue in and around. Not on every single one, but if you want to put it on every single one, it's up to you. But you just really want it on a really good sort of like anchor point. And you can put this anyway, as long as they all line up. Just like so. And you can just give it a gentle nudge together. And that will be sorted. See, the super glue that you use basically sets between 10 and 15 seconds. Or 10 and 20 seconds, should I say. But yeah, that's fine. That's on. So next thing I want to do is put the first bit that I did onto what I can actually see is some form of compressor blades or fan or whatever you want to call it. And again, it's nicely marked. I can just find it. There you go. You can just slot it on. Job done. And again, a bit of extra thin. Let that just whiz around, just let it do its thing. And that's it. Now I painted all this in, all the silver is Hataka aluminium, and the black is rubber black from Tamiya, so it's acrylic. You got this part here, which does fit onto the front, but you only fit that on when the actual engine itself is in the nacelle. So you've got it here, that fits in, and then that just slots in at the front. Then obviously you can put the cover on if you so wish, but what we'll be having is this part here of the framing, and all I can think of is some form of piping, or maybe an exhaust pipe, or something to do with it. I don't know what it will be. And what we've done is, again, we painted it the attacker aluminium and a matte bronze from Tamiya, so that can slot in and all the rest of it. So hopefully now that should, yeah, that's Molly snoring. She's had an hard day. So all we need now is to, again, it's got a little notch on the end there, and you can just marry that up. My eyesight allows it. Yep, that's it. And again, it's a tab, extra thin. And that's it. Now, when you're actually putting it in, the actual main airframe itself, you do have small little types here that actually go on to the actual main frame itself. Now, it's going to be difficult for me to actually show you this because obviously it's black, but I do believe the engine will go in and will drop in just like that. So what we'll do is, if we get the main airframe back, and beforehand we were putting the actual wings together with two parts here, one there and one there, which is basically the first part of the mounting for the actual engine. Now it does just say to, well, slot in, as it were. So let me just find that part there. Oh shit. So I just moved the bloody the undercarriage. Oh shit. Right, there we go. Okay, let's retrieve the engine from the floor. Yeah, I know, Molly, I'm crap at this, aren't I? Yeah, amateurs. You're an amateur. Yeah, okay. Tell me something, Molly, I don't know. Right, let's have another go. Oh, right. That's it. So, ingenious, and there is a knack to it. You basically pop it in, jiggle it about a bit, drop it on the floor, bugger up your undercarriage doors, pick it up off the floor, pop it in, give it a wiggle like that, and it'll go in. So, and that's it. That's what you do. That's what the instructions tell you to do. Anyway, now I can push down on that. That's going nowhere. The actual end of the nozzle that's going into the actual framing of the actual engine, that's in, and that's secure, and that ain't going nowhere. So yeah, that's the insulation. So let me just stop it there and sort of like put my undercarriage back to where it should be. Right, the last thing I'm gonna excuse me, just show you is I'm just gonna spray some burnt metal of well, the AK Extreme metals into the actual engine, and basically that's it, finished. But the only thing I've got to do is just stick a couple of antennas on underneath and just replace the windows in the front, and that is actually it, finished. God, Bennett. So what I use is a pipette, which I only use for the metals, nothing else, and just put a couple of drops in the airbrush. The airbrush I use for this is my what's a Neo. I think it was a 3.5 needle, and it does exactly what I need it to do. So, and I only use this purely for metals and nothing else. So I've got no worries about it actually contaminating any other paint and stuff like that. So I've just flushed it through, it's fine, and I've got bubbles in it, so looks like I've got a little blockage of some kind, but no, that'll do. So I'm hoping you'll be able to see this, and all I'm going to be doing is very, very lightly, very gently, just applying some of the burnt metal. It's hard to see straight away when it's actually sticking it on. Silver part. Yeah, it's starting to come through now. But I just wanted it, I didn't want it to be like proper in your face silver. I want it to have to be looking that it has, you know, been fired up, it's been used or whatever. Right, let's see if I can just move that around. Yeah, I know. Just overdid that a little bit. That's alright. I overdid it, I've sprayed it, but it's gone in and it's sort of like the capillary reaction of the paint just whoosh, it went straight around it. So that's given me quite a good effect, that. So yeah, cool. Right, I've just got a little bit in there. And what I'll do is just put a little bit around the ends of the nozzles. Is it still in camera? Sorry. Yeah. So it's just a case of just go around it again and do both nozzles. And that's it. Right, let me just take the camera off so you can actually have a look at it properly. Right, hopefully now the camera, you'll be able to pick it up that it's gone from quite a bright sort of like silver aluminium to a bit of a dusty, dirty sort of like burnt metal sort of like colour. And that's generally what I'm after. I'll have to go around to the rear there as well, just to sort that little bit out as well. But generally, that is it. So, working way back, I've got a few little bits and pieces to do, and that's basically it. And yeah, so we'll close it there, and the next video will be the final reveal. Hi. Yeah, so really happy with that. I'm just knackered and, you know, cold and horrible stuff. Anyway, I shall see you on the final reveal. Be a couple of days yet. I'm away for a couple of days, so we'll get this sorted out, and yeah, you'll be able to see the finished product, and it'll be mounted on one of these frames so I can put it onto the wall. Okie dokie. Right, so I shall see you shortly. Okay, so take care, happy modelling, and stay safe, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Toodle pip.